Sometimes the strongest people in the room are the ones barely holding themselves together. That's what Judge Frank Caprio discovered when Tristan Fields walked into his Providence courtroom one Tuesday morning. She was there for 13 parking tickets, 13 pieces of paper that represented 13 nights when exhaustion defeated responsibility. 4 children, 1 mother, 0 support system, and a judge who was about to prove that justice can have a heart. Hit subscribe if you believe compassion and accountability can coexist, because what happened next shows exactly what that looks like. Tristan approached the microphone with the careful posture of someone trying to take up as little space as possible. Her clothes were practical, clean but worn, the uniform of a woman who has no time for herself. She carried a summons in trembling hands, and though she stood straight, there was something in her eyes that spoke of sleepless nights and impossible choices. On the surface, this looked like every other case: parking tickets, fines, administrative consequences. But when Tristan Fields finally spoke her truth, nobody in that room would remain unchanged. Judge Frank Caprio adjusted his reading glasses and reviewed the file before him. In his decades on the bench, he'd developed an instinct for reading people, and something about this case already felt different. "Good morning," he began, his warm Italian-American accent filling the courtroom. "Miss Fields, you have 2 registrations here. You want to get in front of the mic, please?" "Sure, sorry," Tristan said softly, stepping closer. "Your motor vehicle has been booted," the judge continued, scanning the paperwork. "This BR 776 isn't mine," Tristan explained quickly. "I had registered it for my kid's father a couple years ago. We've been separated for almost 3 years, and I failed to get the plates back from that car." The first thread of a larger story. Judge Caprio set down his pen. "Where are the plates now on the BR?" "I'm not sure," Tristan admitted. "I believe that they're seized. I don't really have contact with my kid's father like that to know." "When's the last time you and he were living together?" "It's been about 3 years, Your Honor." "Where is he now?" "Around Providence." The judge paused, then asked the question that would begin to crack open the truth. "How many children do you have?" "I have 4. 4 children." The courtroom seemed to shift. Court Clerk Patricia Dymo glanced up from her computer screen. This was no longer a routine case. "How old are they?" 13, 9, 8, 4. "They're all in school?" "Absolutely," Tristan said, and for the first time there was something fierce in her voice: pride. Despite everything, her children were in school. Judge Caprio looked at the next violation, his expression growing more serious. "On the vehicle that you drive, you have— I know it looks extensive." "It does," Tristan acknowledged quietly. "You have 13 overnight parking tickets. That means you leave the car in front of your house overnight." "Absolutely." "'Cause you don't have a parking space." Tristan hesitated. "Well, I have a parking. I do. I did have a parking space. Well, the Appleton places I really didn't, but on the Radcliffe I did. It was just me being exhausted from working." There it was, the word that would become the centerpiece of this case: exhausted. "Well, the question I'm asking you is, why do you leave the car on the street?" "Just me being exhausted, Your Honor." "Just what? Speak into the mic." "Being exhausted." "Do you work?" "I do." "How many hours do you work?" "At that time I was working 30 to 40 hours. I'm a medical assistant." Like this video if you've ever been too tired to make good decisions, because the pieces were coming together now, and they painted a picture far more complex than simple irresponsibility. Judge Caprio leaned forward, his tone firm but not unkind. "My question to you is, you have 4 kids." "I do." "And you're getting tickets every night. You got all these tickets. You're getting tickets, parking in front of the house. When are you going to learn your lesson?" The question hung in the air. When would she stop making the same mistake? "I've learned 'em," Tristan said, her voice breaking slightly. "Do you have a parking space now where you can park the car?" "Absolutely." "What else do you want to tell me about this?" And that's when Tristan Fields, single mother of 4, medical assistant working 40-hour weeks, woman trying desperately to hold everything together, said the words that would change everything. "I'm just trying to get my life together. I understand I do owe on parking tickets. I don't want to be negligent to that, but I'm trying to get my life in order. I'm raising my children on my own and doing the best that I can." The courtroom fell silent. Not the silence of waiting for the next case, but the silence of collective recognition. Gallery members leaned forward. Judge Caprio's expression softened, transformed by sudden understanding. This wasn't about someone who didn't care. This was about someone who cared so much that she was burning herself out trying to be enough for 4 children. This was about a woman working full-time as a medical assistant, caring for other people's health while sacrificing her own rest. This was about the impossible mathematics of single parenthood. How do you feed 4 kids, clothe them, get them to school, work 40 hours a week, and still have energy to move a car at the end of an exhausting day? Tristan wasn't making excuses. She was explaining reality, and everyone in that courtroom understood the difference. The weight of her words settled over the room. Feed the kids or pay parking tickets. Children's needs or city regulations. Survival or compliance. These weren't choices anyone should have to make, but Tristan Fields was making them every single day. Judge Caprio removed his glasses and studied the woman before him. When he spoke again, his voice carried a different quality, still firm, but warmed by genuine empathy. "Here's the issue," the judge began. "First of all, trust me. I understand that you have 4 kids, and I know what it entails to have 4 children and to be the sole support of those kids. And for you doing that and working like you do, I congratulate you." Tristan's eyes filled with tears. When was the last time anyone had congratulated her for simply surviving? "I understand that," Judge Caprio continued. "I understand that it's tough. You don't have money, that the last thing on your mind is paying parking tickets because you have to feed the kids, you have to get the kids clothes, you have to take care of the kids, so that's your priority. I understand that too." He paused, and the courtroom held its breath. "I'm having trouble understanding why, given all those issues, that you continue to park on the street overnight." It wasn't criticism. It was genuine confusion. The confusion of someone trying to reconcile 2 truths simultaneously. "I'm not being critical. I'm not trying to criticize you," the judge said, his voice gentle but insistent. "I should be congratulating you on some parts of your life, that you take care of your kids and you're working. But it's irresponsible of you to give me excuse, 'Well, I'm tired.' We're all tired." The tough love had arrived, but it came wrapped in compassion. Hit subscribe if you believe accountability and compassion can coexist. If you're tired and you got a bunch of money and you want to pay the tickets, good, be tired. But you're tired. You've got 4 kids. That's your obligation. Judge Caprio leaned back, his expression thoughtful. "So you have 2 parts to your life. On this part with your kids, you're very responsible, right? You're a loving, caring mother, and you're working, trying to take care of the kids. On the other hand, you're doing something that's hurting that good part of you by being irresponsible." The reframe was masterful. He wasn't condemning her. He was showing her how her own exhaustion-driven choices were undermining everything else she was fighting for. "So I want to help you," the judge said. "Here's the deal. Don't come back. When you get tired, say, 'I'm not that tired that I can't go move the car.' Move the car, 'cause that's your problem." He acknowledged the complexity even as he set the expectation. "I mean, I also understand that in some municipalities you can park on the street overnight. You can't do that in Providence." Then Judge Caprio did something unexpected. He smiled, and the entire tenor of the courtroom shifted from judgment to grace. "There's a wonderful gentleman by the name of Stephen Barraquan from Legacy Oaks Court in Midland, Texas," the judge announced. "And he has occasion to view some aspects of this court, and he actually sent me 6 $50 tickets." Tristan's eyes widened. Where was this going? And what he said in the letter was, "As I sit far away in Midland, Texas, my heart breaks for those before you who just need a little break." So he asked that I would use this to my discretion. The judge's voice grew warmer. "I'm going to use one of these to help you pay your fine." "Thank you," Tristan whispered. The courtroom erupted in applause. Strangers clapping for a woman they'd never met, celebrating this small act of human kindness in a system that so often felt cold and mechanical. Like this, if you believe in paying kindness forward. "Thank you," Tristan said again through tears, and you could hear in those 2 words the weight of relief, of being seen, of grace arriving when you least expected it. "So we're going to remove the boot. Compliments of Mr. Stephen Barraquan," Judge Caprio continued. "Actually, his wife's name is on the check too, Tammy. So we want to thank Tammy as well." "Thanks, Tammy," Tristan managed, her voice thick with emotion. "That's going to release the boot. Now you got a total of $250. How much can you pay a week?" "50," Tristan said automatically, then caught herself. "I could pay $200 today." The judge shook his head gently. "Well, I'm going to have you pay $100 today." "Thank you. And we'll credit this as well. So now you have a balance of $150. How much can you pay a week?" "50. "You can't pay 50 a week," Tristan reconsidered. 25 a week. "Okay, that's more realistic," Judge Caprio said with approval. He was teaching her, even in this moment, to be honest about her limitations, to set herself up for success rather than failure. But the judge wasn't finished. There was one more burden to lift. "I'm not going to waste the city's resources chasing the father of your children because it's going to be an exercise in futility. The tickets go back 5 years. We're never going to find him. I can't really change it to his name anyway." He paused, looking directly at Tristan. "So, even though you are responsible for that, I'm going to take a big burden off your head. I'm going to dismiss those tickets, even though they're in your name. You are legally responsible for them, and I'm exercising my judicial discretion. I'm going to dismiss them." "Thank you so much," Tristan breathed, and now the tears were flowing freely. 5 years of tickets, hundreds of dollars she'd been carrying on her shoulders, simply erased. "So that's not hanging over your head, okay?" the judge said warmly. Tristan nodded, unable to speak. Judge Caprio's voice grew tender, almost fatherly. "Pay this, move the car, continue to be a good mother, and God love you. Good luck to you." "God bless you, thank you," Tristan said, her voice breaking completely. Drop a comment if you've ever received grace you didn't deserve, but desperately needed. As Tristan stepped away from the microphone, the courtroom remained quiet. But it was a different kind of quiet now. There was an appreciation in that silence, a recognition that they'd all witnessed justice tempered with mercy. This was the system working the way it should, not with blind application of rules, but with wisdom and humanity. So what is real justice? This case answers that question with perfect clarity. Justice sees the whole person, not just the violation. Justice understands that accountability matters, but context matters more, and compassion matters most of all. Judge Caprio didn't just dismiss tickets that day. He saw a woman drowning, and threw her a lifeline. He acknowledged her struggle without excusing her irresponsibility. He held her accountable while simultaneously lifting her up. He showed Tristan Fields, and everyone watching, that the law can have a heart without losing its backbone. Tristan Fields walked into that courtroom carrying the weight of 4 children, a demanding job, years of struggling alone, and 13 parking tickets that represented 13 nights when exhaustion won. She walked out with a plan to pay her reduced fine, a booted car about to be released, 5 years of her ex-partner's tickets erased, and something she hadn't felt in a very long time: hope. Subscribe for more stories of justice with compassion, because single mothers everywhere are fighting battles we can't see, battles against exhaustion, against systems that punish poverty, against the impossible choice between being a good parent and following every rule. May we all meet them with the grace Judge Caprio showed Tristan Fields that Tuesday morning in Providence. May we all remember that sometimes the strongest people in the room are the ones barely holding themselves together. And when we have the power to lighten their load, even just a little, that's not charity, that's justice. That's what it means to be human.